seems like the weather calmed down today. Lots of nice plants and stuff too starting to come out. And what's going on today? I guess with nice weather, a lot of people want to bring out things like cameras, just taking pictures of all the scenery. And apparently there's this drone that was announced. It's small. It's not the quote mini. This one's apparently by Snap. And it says here, SPS 2022, meet Pixy. We created Snapchat as a new way to use the camera for self-expression and communication. From lenses to spectacles, there are so many ways to share your perspective. Today, we're taking the power and magic of the Snap camera to new heights. So it's essentially the company that made the platform Snapchat, which was really huge before, but it kind of died down. And they did release these sunglasses that actually had cameras built into them. Makes it convenient, although the quality obviously isn't anything extraordinary, so I guess it decided to release a drone now. It says, we're introducing Pixy, your friendly flying camera. It's a pocket-sized, free-flying sidekick that's a fit for your adventures big and small. Everything you need to capture the moment from a new perspective is right in the palm of your hands. With a simple tap of a button, Pixy flies in 4 preset flight paths. It can float, orbit, and follow wherever you lead, without a controller or any setup. And Pixy finds its home in your hand, landing gently at the end of the flight. So they have all these marketing materials and stuff like that. Again, just based on the quality, it doesn't look like anything extraordinary, but that's not who it's meant for in terms of, I guess, like a pro photographer or something like that. So what are the specs for this thing? Funny enough, they don't really openly, I guess, just list it everywhere on their site because, as evident, it's not targeting enthusiasts, but weight-wise, it definitely is under 250 grams. Apparently it weighs about 101 grams, has about a 12 megapixel sensor, and from what I gather, it has an internal hard drive, 16 gigabytes or so. Again, just by the looks of it, this is meant more for people just to throw something out there to capture something quickly, for example. And there's a place for that, and that's my example too. Everybody classifies everything as a quote drone as if it's a huge manned aircraft, but people use stuff like this too. Ultimately, what's the price of this thing? Apparently here it says it's what, $229.99 US. That comes with what, Pixy, bumper and carrying strap, rechargeable battery and USB-C charging cable. And there's the Pixy flight pack, Pixy with a dual battery charger including 2 batteries, that's $249.99. I guess it's interesting too how with that price point and how small the drone is, they tried to implement all these smart features. If you think about it, I guess they have to have things like cameras on the bottom too to be able to determine where to land and so forth automatically. So I guess that's good because in general, the more competition and stuff, the better. Not everyone needs the most high-tech items. Some people literally just want to throw something up in the air quickly, capture a moment. So why not if it fits their price point? And I know there's recently been a lot of news about Twitter being bought out by Elon Musk, but I guess this is kind of huge too. Apparently, Activision Blizzard agrees to be purchased by Microsoft, I guess. This one says, Activision Blizzard stockholders approve proposed Microsoft transaction. Activision Blizzard Inc. announced that its stockholders approved Microsoft Corporation's proposal to acquire Activision Blizzard at the Activision Blizzard special meeting of stockholders held earlier today. And a refresher, basically not too long ago, earlier in the year, it says Microsoft announced plans to acquire Activision Blizzard for $95 per share in an all-cash transaction, subject to customary closing conditions and the completion of regulatory review. That's pretty huge, actually. This is bigger than Twitter, like a company, in terms of being acquired. I guess it wouldn't be as, I guess, global in terms of the news because it is more specific in terms of an industry versus something like, say, the Twitter is a platform that a wider variety of people actually use. But yeah, there's a lot of big companies being taken over, I guess, recently. What's the plan for the future, huh? And with that news of, I guess, Twitter being bought out by Elon Musk, it's kind of interesting where apparently people are trying to stop it. For example, there's various posts that say organizations were trying to contact the FCC in the US to stop the purchase. Like this one here says, the FCC has zero authority to block Musk's purchase of Twitter, and it's particularly frivolous to ask the agency to do so in the name of protecting free speech and open debate. And you can see, I guess, in this report here, it says, Carr rejects call for FCC to block Musk's purchase of Twitter. Yesterday, the Open Markets Institute issued a release that called for the FCC, FTC, and DOJ to block Elon Musk's purchase of Twitter. They argue that the transaction poses a direct threat to American democracy and free speech, and their release cites that the Telegraph Act of 1860, among other statutory authorities, in the context of arguing that these federal agencies have authority to block the deal. Commissioner Carr issued the following statement in response, and then saying again, the FCC has no authority to block Elon Musk's purchase of Twitter, and suggest otherwise is absurd. I would welcome the full FCC making it clear that we will not entertain these types of frivolous arguments. A lot of people actually really don't want this to go through. That's kind of interesting still though, in terms of how apparently his view is to make it, I guess, more free speech oriented, whereas it seems like a lot of people have the different perspective saying he's going to kill the free speech. Isn't it kind of confusing in that sense? But with that thought, I guess people are going after his other businesses in a sense, or skeptical about it now that he's going to purchase it. Like this one here says, Tesla shares plunged 12% as investors wary of Elon Musk's Twitter plan. Musk may have to sell shares in Tesla to pay for his takeover of Twitter. The value of Tesla fell more than $100 billion US on Tuesday as investors digested news that the company's CEO may have to sell part of his stake in the company to buy Twitter, and will likely be distracted from his day job while he does. Shares in an electric car maker lost 12% of their value, close to $876.42 on the Nasdaq on Tuesday, down by more than $120 US from Monday's level, and the worst one-day showing for the company since January. Holy cow, that's a huge loss. I guess technically it would be accurate to say the loss here is way more than the gain, I guess, from him getting Twitter in any sense, correct? But yeah, just kind of crazy of all this free speech, I guess, suppression. Who's going to be, I guess, correct there? Is he going to make it better or worse? It's just kind of weird to think about so far because there's so much inconsistency in terms of, I guess, viewpoints when technically nothing's actually happened yet. Although on the flip side, it makes you wonder, just for perspective, whether or not in this case it would be maybe the person is genuinely trying to change, let's just say, the platform and stuff for good. But if you, I guess, try to challenge, I don't know, whoever it is of the higher authority, you better be prepared for a fight. It will kind of remind me of, like, in China, look at things, for example, like billionaires like that Jack Ma with the Alibaba and all that. Holy, it seems like as soon as he started to talk more about, I guess you could say, things like, I don't know, politics and all that, all of a sudden he quote disappeared. And that guy was like a billionaire too. Now, obviously this isn't China, so it's a little different, but it makes you wonder if you want to see the perspective where this person is going to make the platform better. Is he going to deal with all these, I guess, powerful figures where they'll crush you per se? So it'll be kind of interesting in that regards. But ultimately, like for myself, I don't know what's going on. Nothing's happened yet in terms of his policies and so forth, because to my knowledge, he wants to make everything transparent, like the algorithm and all that. So I don't know how you can argue in that sense where he would be killing free speech or something like that if he's going to make that transparent, like an open source thing. We'll have to wait and see. See you guys later.